Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Ozcast.
All right, diving right in today, we're going to be looking at a pretty significant development. The Trump administration's move to end this temporary legal status for over 500,000 people, actually.
Wow.
530,000 individuals from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, who all came to the U.S. through these Biden-era parole programs.
Yep.
So our source material for this is a Federal Register document that was posted last Friday.
Okay.
And really, the mission here is to kind of unpack what this policy shift actually means, the reasons behind it, and what the potential impact could be for all those folks.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, this Federal Register document is pretty clear. It details that the termination of these parole programs is specifically for Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans. You know?
CHNV, we could say.
Yeah, exactly, CHNV. And the timeline's really important here, too, right? So these programs, they're set to end on April 24th, which is just 30 days after the official publication, which should be happening this Tuesday. So that means for all those people, over 500,000 who were granted parole under these programs, they'll have to leave the U.S. before that April deadline.
So April 24th, that's the date everyone needs to know.
Exactly.
Now, what is the reasoning behind this decision? It seems like the Federal Register notice really points to a directive from President Trump that dates all the way back to his first day in office.
Wow.
Which called for an end to all categorical parole programs that they deemed contrary to U.S. policy.
Interesting.
And it specifically named these 4 countries.
Oh, wow. So they were really targeted from the start.
Seems like it. And to back that up, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's statement in the notice really drives that point home. She states that this termination directly fulfills that Trump order.
Makes sense.
And that it also aligns with the foreign policy priority of making U.S. borders more secure.
So they're really framing this as a security issue.
Yeah, and it seems like DHS is going all in on this, providing a really detailed justification for shutting these programs down.
What are they saying specifically?
Well, they claim that these programs do not serve a significant public benefit, that they're not needed to reduce illegal immigration, that they didn't really mitigate any domestic effects, and that they aren't even really meeting their intended purposes.
Oh, wow. So they're really hitting hard on the effectiveness of the program.
And to top it all off, they say it clashes with the administration's larger foreign policy goals.
So it's like a whole package deal they're trying to make.
And the consequences for people who came in under this program are pretty clear.
What are they saying will happen?
Well, DHS is saying they're going to work to remove anyone who entered under these parole programs and who stays in the U.S. after April 24th without some other legal basis to be here.
So essentially, unless they find another way to legally stay, they're expected to leave.
Exactly. There is an exception, though, for people who have since gotten lawful immigration status through some other means.
Okay, so they're not totally shutting the door.
Right. Now, just to put all this into context, these parole programs were originally set up by the Biden administration as a way to allow folks from those 4 countries to stay in the U.S. temporarily.
Right, for up to 2 years.
Yep. And to qualify, migrants had to apply online, go through background checks, have a financial sponsor.
Oh, so it wasn't just a free-for-all?
No, there were definitely hoops to jump through.
And then were they eligible to work?
Yes. After all that, they could get work authorization.
Interesting.
What's really interesting here is how this whole thing developed.
Oh, how so?
It started with Venezuelans back in 2022.
Okay.
And it was actually later expanded to include these other 3 countries, Nicaragua, Haiti, and Cuba.
Interesting.
And the whole point was to allow up to 30,000 people from these 4 nations combined to come to the U.S. legally each month.
So it was a significant number of people.
It was a big initiative, for sure, but there is one important thing to note.
What's that?
The Biden administration had actually already decided last year not to renew this program.
Oh, so this wasn't completely out of the blue then?
Not exactly. It was already on track to end.
Makes you wonder why they didn't renew it.
Yeah. Lots of speculation out there. We also have some official reactions to this whole thing.
Oh, yeah. What do people say?
Well, one senior DHS official actually called these programs disastrous.
These are words.
Yeah, they're not holding back. And they framed this termination as a return to more common sense policies, a return to public safety, and even a return to America first.
Oh, that's quite a statement.
It really shows you where they're coming from.
It definitely does.
And, tying this back to the bigger picture, we have to remember that messing with these parole programs has never been easy.
Right.
The Federal Register document actually mentions past legal challenges to the Trump administration's attempts to change these programs.
Interesting.
And just last month, there was a class action lawsuit filed that's trying to block this current termination.
Oh, wow. So it's getting pretty heated.
It seems like it. So the legal side of this is definitely something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely.
So to quickly recap, the Trump administration is taking steps to end these Biden-era parole programs, impacting over 500,000 people from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. And they're citing a return to their previous policies and raising concerns about these programs' effectiveness and whether they align with national interests.
Makes sense.
All those affected by this change will need to leave by April 24th.
Unless they have other options to stay legally.
Right. And as we discussed, this whole decision is already facing some serious legal challenges.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out.
It definitely will. And with all this happening, I think it raises some really important questions for everyone listening.
Like what?
Well, with a policy shift this big and so many people affected, we really need to think about all the different factors that come into play when we create immigration policy.
You're right. It's such a complex issue.
And it's important to consider all the different perspectives and how to balance national goals with the very real challenges faced by people seeking refuge or just a chance for something better.
Absolutely.
So that's something to really ponder as we move forward.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It was a good one. Thanks.
Always a pleasure.
Till next time.
See you later.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.